You may be seated. We are, I suppose we could say, in the last days of preparation. Last Sunday I did a sermon called Prepare Part 1. Today, Prepare Part 2. It takes a lot of preparing to do what we have planned to do, likely. And also, in our preparation, we ask ourselves, and we know this ourselves, that what we are preparing for is an extraordinary celebration of an extraordinary event called the birth of Jesus the Christ in a manger in Bethlehem. And Paul writes in his letter to the Philippians, "Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I will say, rejoice. Let your gentleness," interesting word, "be known to everyone, for the Lord is near." And then, very psychologically and practically, he writes, "Do not worry about anything, but in everything, by prayer and supplication, let your requests be made known to God." And in our gospel lesson, John the Baptist was the one who prepared the way, as we talked about last Sunday. Well, we are less than 2 weeks. Many of our gifts may have likely been purchased already. Some of us may have even wrapped them if we do the wrappings ourselves. We are preparing a menu for a Christmas dinner that we may or may not host or go to someone else's house. We have got likely our trees are up and decorated, or they soon will be if we will have any. And our homes and streets and stores and shops glitter with the anticipation of a party that is going to happen now in less than 2 weeks. A party of extraordinary proportions. A party celebrated around the world. Well, what does it look like less than 2 weeks? The question may be, are we ready? What does being ready for Christmas look like? What does it look like to be ready for Christmas? A class of 6-year-olds was putting on the annual Christmas concert for family and friends. The kids were singing, "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," with gusto. They came to the line, "Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners reconciled." One child loudly belted out, "Peace on earth and mercy mild, God and sinners dressed in style." Some of us want a picture of that being dressed in style. Well, it's acceptable, I believe, to be dressed in style. I appreciate it on others, and I know that there is nothing wrong with that. However, the preparation that we have for the Christmas event is in our hearts. That is made known to others by our giving. Peggy King shares a story of, she's a lay woman, of unanswered prayer one Christmas. King and her husband participated every year in the toy drive for needy children sponsored by their local Lions Club. One year they collected gifts for 40 children. On their way to the Lions Club Christmas party, they learned that there would be 60 needy children in attendance, 20 more than for which they had purchased gifts. There was no time to buy more presents, but they couldn't imagine disappointing some of those kids who were showing up at the Christmas party. As they walked up to the firehouse where the party was held, God intervened, as there are God incidences. They met a man on the sidewalk. He had come to the firehouse to vote on a local referendum. But King told him The referendum is not going to be voted on at this firehouse, but another firehouse, and not on this day. It's scheduled for another day. There was a Lions Club Christmas party, they explained, for needy children at this firehouse. The man asked King and her husband why they looked so sad if they were on their way to a party. King told them of their dilemma. They would not have enough presents for all the children that were going to be showing up. The man who showed up at the wrong firehouse on the wrong day to vote was Tom Quigley. He was a major in the Marine Corps. Major Quigley happened to be in charge of his unit's Toys for Tots drive, which is a national drive by all Marine units in our nation. A few minutes after the Lions Club party got started, Major Quigley burst through the door with armloads of gifts, making several trips. There were more than enough for every child. God does provide, and we sometimes don't look or give credit to how God comes to us. We might use the word even intervenes for us. This is a God incident. No matter what our Christmas preparations may look like or lack, I hope we experience love, joy, hope, and peace that only God can provide. The Bible passage from Philippians was written by St. Paul. St. Paul lived some 30 years after the resurrection of Jesus. St. Paul was a very successful tent maker, a successful businessman. We might call him a contractor or construction worker. Tents were a big deal in Paul's day. But Paul was converted on the road to Damascus to become a follower and proclaimer of the good news of Jesus Christ. He had every form of success and comfort and gave it up. His writings are filled with love and joy and peace. Rejoice in the Lord always. Again, I say rejoice. There are many for whom the glitter of Christmas is a reminder of their poverty and the darkness of the night. We oftentimes judge our Christmas successes by materialistic standards. Is our house well decorated? Are all the lights lighted and lit on the Christmas tree? Has the strand gone out? Oh my gosh. Did we get the right gifts? Some of us experience a poverty of spirit, but the meaning of Christmas is in our hearts. Our Christmas giving, our gifts, our purchasing, our shopping, our Christmas cards and sending them, our decorating the trees and the beautiful sanctuaries and homes and shops, all are done prayerfully to support this one who was born in a manger in Bethlehem. This is all part of our preparation for the party that is less than 2 weeks away. The greatest gift of Christmas is the peace of God. The first Christmas there in Bethlehem in the hills of Galilee, no one, not Mary or Joseph, not the shepherds, not Elizabeth and Zechariah, no one knew what God was planning. It was an extraordinary surprise when the angels announced, "Glory to God in the highest, and on earth peace among God's children." They did know that God had chosen them, even when they didn't understand the plans. God experienced and had them experience the peace of the Christ child. The peace that sometimes is difficult to come to us. A peace that oftentimes escapes us. a peace that the world stands in need of now and always. At the start of World War II, the city of London was preparing for bombing raids by the Nazi forces. It was called the Blitzkrieg to come. The government decided to protect their most vulnerable citizens, their children. The English Great British government moved approximately 800,000 children out of London into the rural countryside, into foster homes. That was considered to be, and may still stand as, the largest transfer of children in history. They were evacuated from London. The government wanted to protect the children from the frightening facts of war. They did not tell them why they were being sent away or where they were even going. As the children were loaded onto the trains and buses, someone asked a young boy, "Where are you going?" The child hesitated for a moment and then said, "I don't know, but the king knows." In troubling and uncertain times, that child found peace in trusting his king, who knew where he was going. And we, too, can trust our King, Jesus, the King of Kings, to lead us to where we're going, to rekindle our hope for peace, to pray for the day that will come. Paul was teaching us in this passage, do not worry about anything, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Paul wrote these words after he had lost everything. His letters reveal a man on fire with joy and peace, facing the difficulties of an uncertain future. He writes these words from a prison cell in Rome. Rejoice in everything. Again, I say rejoice. He had lost all of his property. He'd been a wealthy tent maker, as we know. He was converted on the road to Damascus. He was imprisoned for proclaiming the good news of the gospel of Jesus Christ. And he writes to us, do not worry about anything. Get the picture? He was a prisoner in Rome. Paul lived with peace in the presence and gratitude for the future. Glenn McCarthy stopped by his local Walmart for a cup of coffee. The employees at this Walmart store were leading a toy drive for underprivileged children. McCarthy wanted to help, but he was a homeless man who had just had enough money to buy a cup of coffee and a $5 bill in his pocket. He had fallen on hard times. After leaving the Walmart, he couldn't stop thinking about the underprivileged children. He returned to the Walmart, took the $5 bill out of his pocket, and gave it to the drive. Homeless and sick with cancer, he thought to himself, I don't have long to live on this earth, but I can give gifts to children. I am happier now, having given all that I have, than I've ever been in my life. Let us not miss the purpose of the season. It is this extraordinary gift that God has given us in Jesus the Christ. We're just a few days away from celebrating again this greatest moment in history. We were preparing for a birthday party for one whose birth changed the world. God came to earth in a brother named Jesus. His name is Emmanuel, which is God with us. Let us prepare in our lives to receive the Christ child into our very heart, to see the joy on the faces of children and homebound, nursing home residents, and neighbors and friends who celebrated in many ways this extraordinary miracle that we call Christmas. Thanks be to God. Amen.
Who's he talking about?
I don't know.
Who's back there? He's talking.
Oh, you're such a good girl. She's just singing to her.
Yeah, she was singing with us.
She's a good girl. She does a good job.
Keeper.
Yeah, we just found out number 2's on the way.
Oh, good deal.
Yeah, July.
How old is he? Is he a little bird?
Liam is a year and 7 months.
Okay. So, yes, fun.
Yeah.
They keep you busy when you're not